Story 1. The Night Visitor. Jacob hadn't slept properly in weeks. It began innocently enough. A slight creak of the floorboards, the faint rustle of curtains when the windows were tightly shut. He brushed it off as an old house settling. Yet each passing night, sleep became harder to grasp and the noises became clearer, closer.
रायता, spaghetti या pasta
One
और
night,
unlimited
unable to find
tea,
rest,
सिर्फ $20
Jacob
में
lay
इसमें भाई
awake,
में तो
staring
आप
into
क्या
the
कहेंगे?
dark ceiling,
तो भाई कुछ
his
ना कहें
heart
उसी जिस
quickening
जगह
as he
पहुंचे
heard
और यहाँ
distinct
पे आपको
footsteps from
मजेदार किस्म का खाना
downstairs.
मिलेगा ओनली एट
Slow,
चाचू की बिरयानी।
deliberate,
ये बड़ा इकोनॉमिकल
menacing.
पैकेज आपके लिए लाए हैं यार।
He quietly
$20 में
got up,
इतना साफ सुथरा और
crept
बेहतरीन
downstairs and
जायकेदार
found
खाना आपको
nothing.
कहीं नहीं मिलेगा। आप देख सकते हैं
Just
बिरयानी,
silence and
कढ़ाई,
shadowy
स्पेगेटी,
rooms
गुलाब
staring back
जामुन,
at him.
रोटी, पकौड़े,
Determined to confront whatever
फ्रेंच
was
फ्राइज, उसके
disrupting
अलावा
his
इनके
sleep,
पास भाई
he installed
समोसे
cameras
और
around his
रोल,
house.
उसके अलावा चना चाट,
Reviewing the footage the
अनलिमिटेड जूस
next
और
evening,
अनलिमिटेड
Jacob
चाय। और
froze in
क्या जान
horror.
लोगे भाई।
A
भाई
shadowy
मिसिसागा का
figure
पूरा
moved
रश यहाँ पे
fluidly
टूट
from
पड़ा
room
है,
to
तो
room,
कोशिश करो
pausing
रिजर्वेशन
briefly
लेकर
by
और
his
इस डील को
bedroom door
एंजॉय करो
before
because
vanishing
at this
completely
rate
at
this is
dawn.
by far the best deal I found in
Fear settled
Mississauga।
into Jacob's heart. The entity knew he was watching. Night after sleepless
और
night,
उसके साथ वो
Jacob's
गर्मा गर्म
sanity
कौरमा,
unraveled.
चिकन कढ़ाई और
His
अफ्तार के
reflection looked
10
hollow,
आइटम्स तो भाई
eyes
मज़ा ही आ
sunken,
जाता है। तो
skin
ज़रूर ट्राई
pale.
करो भाई इसको, मुझे कमेंट में बताना
Eventually,
कैसा लगा।
unable to bear the torment any longer, he screamed into the shadows, begging it to reveal itself. Suddenly, a breath whispered coldly into his ear, "I'm already here." His terrified screams echoed unanswered in the empty house, as neighbors ignored the noise, used to the strange man who couldn't sleep. Story 2. Echoes in the Woods. Sarah moved into her countryside cottage craving solitude. The forest surrounding her home was tranquil, at least during the day. Night, however, was a different beast altogether. Sleep evaded her. Strange whispers floated through her open window, gentle sobs carried by the midnight breeze. Unable to shake the curiosity and fear, she ventured into the forest at night. Her flashlight flickered uneasily, casting twisted shadows on ancient trees. Farther into the woods, the whispers became louder, the sobs clearer, accompanied now by desperate pleading. She stopped abruptly, realizing the voices surrounded her. Pale figures stepped silently from the trees, hollow-eyed, translucent. She recognized some faces from faded missing person posters she'd glimpsed in town. "Help us," they whispered, reaching out with misty hands. Paralyzed with terror, Sarah felt the cold touch of their ghostly fingers, pulling her deeper into the dark woods. They needed her, they said. They needed her to join them, to warn others. She struggled, screamed, but no sound came out. Now she stands among the trees every night, calling softly, sobbing gently, hoping someone else can hear and free her from this eternal vigil. Story 3. The Faceless Man. Derek worked late shifts, often coming home just before sunrise. One night, arriving home exhausted, sleep was impossible. A lingering feeling of being watched prickled the hairs on his neck. Every subsequent night, insomnia took deeper root, and each night he glimpsed a figure standing outside beneath the streetlight, a tall man in a long coat, his face always hidden in shadow. He never moved, never spoke, just watched Derek's window, motionless and unnerving. After weeks of sleepless torment, Derek decided to confront the man. He ran downstairs, bolted outside, only to find no one there. Confused, Derek turned back, freezing when he realized the figure now stood inside his house, behind his own bedroom window, staring down at him, face still hidden. Derek rushed inside, heart pounding, but the figure was gone. From that night forward, the faceless man appeared everywhere, in reflections, mirrors, always just out of clear sight. Sleep now was an impossible dream. One night, as exhaustion overwhelmed him, he felt cold hands on his face. Terrified, Derek opened his eyes as the figure bent down, whispering softly, "You'll never see me clearly, because soon you won't have a face either." The police later found Derek sitting silently, staring blankly at nothing, faceless, expressionless, yet somehow still alive. Story 4. The Forgotten Door. Elena rented an old apartment, attracted by its vintage charm, yet every night was spent in uneasy wakefulness. Her attention was drawn repeatedly to a small, locked door in the back wall of her closet, one that didn't match any key she owned. Unable to sleep, her curiosity spiraled into obsession. Elena finally broke open the door, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling downward. Entranced, she descended into an impossibly deep cellar, its air damp, musty, ancient. Below, she found shelves of old, leather-bound journals, written in frantic handwriting by previous tenants, describing their sleepless nights, whispering voices, visions of unspeakable horrors. As Elena read, she heard the door above her close softly. Panic surged as she scrambled back upstairs, only to find the doorway had vanished, leaving smooth wall behind. She screamed, clawed helplessly at solid bricks, realizing too late this hidden room had claimed yet another victim.